Hello, my name is Nicola Pomponio. Thank you for joining us at the Open Up Cava Happy Hour with Segura Viudas. We are so excited to be able to virtually travel to Spain. Today we discover one of the most historical estates of Spain in the region of Catalonia, just 45 minutes from Barcelona. Gloria Calel, the international wine manager at Segura Viudas, will be taking us through the wines and answering questions. Gloria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nicola. Thank you for giving me the opportunity of presenting our products today. My name is Gloria Calel. I'm the wine manager for Segura Viudas. I've been at Segura Viudas for a long time, more than 25 years. I started at Segura Viudas as part of the winemaking team, and I have Segura Viudas in my blood, I would say. So I only wish that we end up today, the session of today, with you feeling a little bit of the passion that I feel for that brand.
Well, we have many questions, so why don't we just jump right in, Gloria? Tell us first a little bit about the history of Segura Viudas.
Segura Viudas is it first started. It's located in a state that dates back from the 11th century. So it's really an old place. And we have data saying that in the 12th century, that state was already called the Great House. So we have very old documentation talking about how the different generations were inheriting the state, and they were cultivating grape in that place. So definitely the responsibility we have on managing and being in a state that has been in so many hands, it's a huge responsibility for us, because at the same time, we do have to respect that land, we do have to respect that state, because we are people and we pass by. So we will be living there, we will be working there, but in 20 years we will pass by, but the land stays and the state is there. And we have to be respectful on what we do, because first of all, respectful for the next generations, to leave them an area, a vineyard that they can work. And then we have to be also respectful with the past generations, because they knew what they were doing, and we have to adapt technology and innovation, but adapt it to the previous generations, because we are working with very local grapes, which have been growing there over the last 100 years for a reason. And it's because those are the best grapes and the best vines in our area. So this is very important for us, and I think all the states and the wineries should be aware that we are only passengers of a land, and we are very aware of that. This is why we practice sustainable viticulture, which means minimizing treatments, and we can go into more details. But for us, the four pillars of our winery are the millennial history, the biodiversity that we have around the state, this sustainable agriculture, and of course a little bit of innovation, because wineries, we have to always innovate. We have to think on new things to adapt our wines to the next generations, but always being respectful with the past. So this is very important.
Fantastic. Where exactly is Segura Viudas?
Well, Segura Viudas, as you said already, Segura Viudas is quite close to Barcelona. We are very lucky. I was talking with you before that although we are in an area, in a beautiful area surrounded by vineyards, we are very close to Barcelona. We are 45 minutes south of Barcelona, as you can see in that dot. So it's really easy to access, and I'm lucky. I consider that I'm lucky, because in half an hour I can be in the middle of the vineyards. In fact, our house is in the middle of the vineyards.
Wow.
But then if I need some stress and if I need some movement, in half an hour I'm in Barcelona. It's more or less similar as what you can have in Sonoma or Napa, that you in half an hour, 45 minutes you are in San Francisco. It's more or less like that. Right. So this is where Cava area and Segura Viudas is located. Segura Viudas is in the Cava area, so it means that we are in a region which is limited, and also certain things, certain winemaking processes are controlled, and in where we are, 95% of all the total Cava in Spain is made. So it's like an appellation, okay, like a wine region with the different rules and the different grapes that we can make.
Is the area that you're in, is it like a little microclimate that you can tell us about?
We could say that, yeah, there are different microclimates in all over Spain. Spain is quite big. In our area, we could say that our area is quite a Mediterranean climate. We are extremely lucky because we have the 4 different seasons, but winter is not very hard. It's quite a mild winter, we could say. We hardly touch below 0 temperatures, so freezing really few days a year. But we have the 4 different seasons, which is ideal for the good development of the vine. Although over the last 2-3 years, well, probably 5 years, we've been having some problems with droughts, like you have in California, for instance, no? So this kind of climate, the Mediterranean climate, makes it easy to keep the sustainable viticulture, as I was mentioning before. What does it mean, sustainable viticulture? It means that we are not yet organic, 100% a winery, but sustainable viticulture means that we are extremely respectful with the treatments, minimizing the treatments at the minimum. So it means that we only treat the vines with copper and sulfur, so those are organic permitted treatments, if we have to. So if we don't have to, we don't do it. And then another point which is really important for us is the biodiversity around the vineyard. Mm. For instance, if you go to a vineyard and you don't see grass, you don't see flowers, you don't see butterflies, you don't see insects, you don't see birds, this is not an alive vineyard. And the vine can feel that. So for us, it's really important to keep and maintain, and in fact, push this biodiversity, this life we have around the vineyard. So, and around the vineyard, we have olive trees, we have almond trees, we have roses, we have the different birds, mammals, reptiles, and we need that. So for us, this is very important, this kind of biodiversity and the sustainability viticulture. Yeah, so this is very important. Segura Viudas, as we know, this is Cava. And what's Cava? No, what is Cava? You see, yeah,
what are the grapes in Cava?
Exactly. As I said, we are in a wine region, and in a wine region in Europe means that they tell you, and that everything is a little bit not controlled, but at least regulated. It means that there are certain rules that we have to follow in terms of which grapes we can use. In total, there are 9 grapes we can use on making Cava. 5 are white and 4 are red grapes. So we can use them to make white and rosé Cava. Red Cava is not permitted. But Segura Viudas, mainly we use the 3 most important Cava grapes, which are Macabeo, Xarel·lo, and Parellada. I know they are not easy to pronounce because they are Catalan grapes, Catalan names. I'm going to say it again, okay? Xarel·lo, Macabeo, this is the first one, the first that we pick at the end of August. Xarel·lo, this is the one we pick in August. And Parellada, the one, Macabeo, we pick it in September, and Parellada at the end of September. Okay, so those are the three white grapes, the most important one, and in fact, 85% of our total production is made of these three grapes. And then we also use a little bit of Garnacha for the rosé, for this beautiful rosé that we will taste later on. And we also use Trepat for the rosé, which is a very local and tiny grape. And some years ago, we started using, let's call it international grapes, which are Pinot Noir and Chardonnay.
Oh, wow.
Why are we using Pinot Noir and Chardonnay? Well, they, as I said, we have to keep innovation. We have to innovate. And it's true that Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, they do bring a different touch and a different aromatic that we don't have it for Macabeo, Xarel·lo, and Parellada. So more citrus, higher intensity on aromatics. And for a product like, well, one of the third Cava we will be tasting, we think it brings quite a different touch that is very interesting. And you know, Cava is a process that it's about blending. Cava, it's a process, well, we can say like champagne, which means that blending grapes, you create a better wine, okay? Like, let's say the union of some grapes, they make a better wine than if it was a varietal wine. It's a very interesting point. We always say that Macabeo, it's a very good wine, Xarel·lo, it's a very good wine, but when they are together, they are more complete. They do have all the different nuances and they complement very well one to each other. And this is the secret of the method traditionnel or method champenoise or Cava method, which means that the first fermentation is in a tank and the second fermentation is done inside the bottle, giving us more concentration of aromas, and also a huge aging potential, which is very important for traditional method. Yeah, you don't have that potential of aging when you do the second fermentation in a tank, like for instance a prosecco. Yeah, so it's a different style. We also make prosecco, but it's a different style of final product.
Well, let's go get into the fun part of this. Let's taste some wine. What do you think? And for those of you in the group, if you have any questions, please send them via the chat, and I'll be able to ask Gloria some of the questions. Let's jump right into the first wine. Go ahead, Gloria.
Okay. Yeah, let's taste them. Well, we organize it on, let's taste first the Brut, which is our pillar. I mean, this is the product we sell the most. And in fact, it says a lot when the product that we sell the most is the Brut with that level of quality, because our consumers all over the world are consumers who are really looking for something else. Yeah, not for the easy glass, but they are looking for something else. And Segura Brut really has something else. This is a blend dominated by Macabeo. 50% of the wine is made of Macabeo, and the rest is Xarel·lo and Parellada. Which is for me the best point of this Cava, of Segura Brut, for me, is that it's extremely versatile. It has 9 grams of sugar, which make it ideal for an appetizer, as a welcome glass, a reception glass, but also has enough body to have it together with the whole meal. Why? Because what we do is that we have a little bit of wine together with the yeast at the beginning. We do like a kind of batonnage for some hours in order to have a little bit more of body and a little bit more of fat in a way. So for me, this Cava has the perfect balance between certain complexity and freshness. So it's not too toasty, not too like the Heredad, which is more toasty and more complex. So this has a little bit in between. How do you feel it?
Oh, it's fantastic. The nose is beautiful. Tell me about what you get out of the nose, Gloria. As you drink the wine, of course.
Yeah. Good. No, the Macabeo brings this apple. It has a little bit of apple notes, stone fruits, because it's ripe. It's from a Mediterranean climate, so we expect certain ripeness, of course. The acidity is very good. And generally speaking, at Segura Viudas, we look for a good acidity. We like the acidity in our cavas. Usually cavas are not as acid because they come from a Mediterranean climate, but you can manage this picking up a little bit earlier. Yeah, so we try to pick a little bit earlier and have this acidity. Yeah.
And for those of you that don't taste very often with winemakers, don't be afraid to get your nose in there and take a big whiff. It's just amazing how beautiful the fragrance of these wines is. They call it the nose. Gorgeous.
Usually when we drink with friends and we have a glass of sparkling at the terrace or at the restaurant, usually we don't smell it. Usually we just drink and we swallow, no? But the truth is that no, the aroma profile is telling a lot about the wine. Hold on a second. Sure. Alfredo, es que no me sienten, cariño. Sorry, they just turned on the television. So the nose is very important in a tasting, yeah.
What's the breakdown on the varietal of this the Brut?
If I'm not mistaken, this is 50% Macabeo, 35 Parellada, and 15 Xarel·lo. So as I said before, the blending is very special, and the blend really makes a difference between one product and the other. So for that one, we were looking for freshness. We were looking for freshness, and this is why there's only 15% of Xarel·lo. We are at Segura Viudas, we are big fans of Macabeo. Because we like this apple touch, we like the freshness, we like the delicacy of Macabeo. And Xarel·lo is more full body. Xarel·lo is more masculine in a way. It has more bitterness also. And we don't like bitterness in our cavas. We try to avoid bitterness.
Right.
And then Parellada, which is the third. Parellada is really fragile. Parellada brings some flowers, some very fragile aromas. It contributes, but we usually try not to have a dominant and predominant parellada blend, and you will see that.
Let's move on to the next wine, the rosé.
Let's move on to the next one. Oh, yeah. I love that one.
Fantastic. And by the way, if you do have questions, please put them into the chat.
Oh yes,
we
please.
Can ask you some questions. We can answer some questions actually.
They can interrupt at any moment.
Yeah, please send your questions.
This is a beautiful rosé made of trepat, mainly dominated by trepat, and like 20% of garnacha. Trepat is a curious grape, which is it grows south of in the area of Tarragona, which is half an hour south of Segura Viudas. There are only 1,000 hectares all over Spain, in a way, and I could say that 50% of the trepat available is used at Segura Viudas. So for rosés, we look for freshness. We look for these wild fruits, the strawberries. We always look for this kind of rosés. We like rosés to be fresh, clean, and young. Why is that? Because rosé is a difficult product to age, at least for us in a Mediterranean climate. So in Champagne, where the climate makes grapes with higher acidity, they can make rosés which have a long life.
Right.
For us, we have to be careful. So as we don't like overripe and super mature rosés, we look for freshness and with good acidity, but quite young. So this is a rosé that usually we sell it with 12 months of age. By the way, I don't know if I said that before, but Cava Cava, to be labeled as Cava, we need a minimum time of 9 months in the bottle, like a baby. Yeah, and champagne is 15.
Someone just asked a question. They said they're sampling the extra dry. How does that compare to the brut?
Extra dry and brut. Yes, good question. It's the level of sweetness at the end, before 5 minutes before labeling. So it's the level of dosage. We know that consumer is a little bit lost on the level of sweetness for sparkling wines, and it's not. I'm not surprised for that. But extra dry, it's sweeter than a brut, and we could say that extra dry should be the driest of all. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to say that this was created by the French. This terminology.
It was the French that created that.
It was not our fault. So
that's right. With the brut and the rosé that we're having now, what would you pair it with in terms of food? What I see you have some food. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can tell us what it goes with.
I know, you know what? I like very much rosés with all kind of risottos. Can you imagine a mushroom risotto with this rosé? For instance,
fantastic.
Risottos, or you know that we like very much paella, so I like paella very much with rosés, and also with spicy food, spicy cuisine with all these tannins and the acidity and the freshness of the rosé. I like the cleaning of the rosé with the spicy food, Mexican food, Thai food, very much. And I also like it with the salad. For instance, sometimes while you are in a diet and you have to have a salad. So why don't you have some salad with strawberries and wild fruits, but a glass of rosé? Because if it's a brut, it has very low sugar, so you can have it.
We love it with sushi as well, because sushi tends to be a little spicy when you add the wasabi. So we're always fans of rosé, of the Segura Viudas rosé with our sushi. What about the brut? What about the brut? What would you pair it with? Do you have? I know you have some really traditional meats and cheeses in front of you, but maybe tell us one or two.
Yes, I like it with cured cheese like manchego and Spanish cheese. This Cava, the brut, I like it also with ham. By the way, I have some Iberico ham here.
That's the real deal right there, folks.
My husband just cut some slices for me. And today we have a little vegetable garden, and now it's artichoke season. It's almost finished. And we pick some artichokes. I deep fry the artichoke. I did some like artichoke chips, and then I made an omelette of artichokes. Can you see that?
Yep. It looks
so I made an omelette of artichokes. Artichokes are very difficult to pair because they are bitter.
Sure.
So you need to balance this bitterness. You need like a full-bodied product, and with the Brut Reserva, I like it very much with Cava because it cleans up all this bitterness of the artichokes.
Let's go on to the next one.
Let's go to the next one, which I was quite involved on creating that one because we wanted to make. This is the Gran Cuvée Reserva. Yeah, it's a beautiful bottle and beautiful packaging. And this product was born 6 years ago. No, even more. Do you remember when the famous movie Sideways?
Yes.
That was there is a speech talking about how beautiful is Pinot Noir. You remember that? Well, by that time, we were involved already on growing some Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in the area. And well, we decided to make a blend combining 2 local grapes and 2 international grapes, like making, doing the mix of the local traditions and the international grapes. So this is a blend of Macabeo Emparellada and a blend of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And I think it's very interesting if someone has, for instance, if someone has these 2 products together, why don't you taste them, these two together, and compare the glasses, and you will see the different intensity on the nose of the Grand Cuvée, which has Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and therefore we will have this citrusy, more intensity on the nose, and probably we will have more acidity than the more Mediterranean fruits of the Brut. So it's really an interesting comparison in a way, how a tiny percentage of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir do change the profile of a product, yeah?
Is it aged a little differently as well?
Yes, the Gran Cuvée Reserva has a minimum of 15 months of aging.
15.
So usually we age it a little bit more. It's usually we release it with 2 years at least on the list. Yes, wow. And you can feel that. You can feel that. You can feel the toastiness. You can feel the yeastiness. A little bit of all this kind of bread, toasty, yeah, and like like a little bit of vanilla in a way, more spicy.
And what would you pair this with after you finish this wine?
Well, more complex is the product. More complex foods you can pair with. Honestly, I mean, because the sugar level is lower. It's has only 6 grams of sugar, so it's almost a Brut Nature. I like it to have it also with cheese, charcuterie, because as it is drier, you can do it with that. But then it can accept also the more complex food like casseroles, like more meat foods. And I like it very much with fish, all kind of fish, because thanks to these aromatics, you can have seafood. I can imagine with, I don't know, lobster, clams, but also with a turbot, a grilled turbot with some potatoes in the oven. And well, I can...
Yeah, something that has a little intensity in terms of flavor profile.
It is. Really can you feel the difference?
Let's move on to the next wine. This is my favorite.
Let's move to the next one. And well, this is, yeah, I know, look at that. This is the icon, yeah? And you know what? You know which year this bottle was designed and was released for the first time?
When?
1969.
Oh, wow.
Guess which year I was born?
1981.
Thank you. No, I was 1969.
Wow.
So,
this is the Heredad, right?
This is the Heredad. This is Segura Viudas.
What does Heredad mean, by the way?
Heredad means Heredad means heritage.
Heritage, okay.
But if we should translate it into English, it would be like state. Heredad means the area that you inherited, so the property in a way.
So like an inheritance.
Correct.
Yeah. And by the way, if you have any questions, please chat us. We're ready to answer as many questions as you have.
Yes, please.
And I hope everyone's having a good time and having a glass of wine with us too, because this is what it's really all about.
So now I mean, this is another level, okay? So now this is serious. Now this is a wine or a cava that I say a cava for meditation. This is not just for, you don't have that in a terrace just to have fun. I mean, this is more serious, this is more complex. Look at the color, even the color of intensity is more intense, is more yellow, yeah, more yellow, intense, higher yellow expression. And on the aromas, you don't have the primary aromas we were having of apple and the first one. So in that one, you don't have the primary aromas anymore. It's all secondary aromas, which means ripe fruits, all the bakeries, dried food. You have walnuts, you have nuts. Generally speaking, you have some bread, yeasty, well, many other kinds, but you don't have the primary aromas anymore. All those.
What's the aging process here?
Well, the aging process in total, usually more than 30 months.
30 months. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time. And the blending with the Heredad, I think there was a question asking about why don't we use in the Hereda we don't use Charello. Okay, why we don't use Charello in the Hereda? In the Hereda, we don't use Charello because we were looking for complexity, but at the same time, delicacy and elegance. And Charello, it was giving too much body for us, and we didn't want that. Okay, we didn't want that for that product. Segura Viudas has other cavas that are full-bodied and 100% Charello, but not for that one. And in fact, this is more or less, we keep the same blend as in 1969. Yeah, looking for finesse, but complexity at the same time.
Right.
Okay, and another thing, we have to be aware that Reserva Heredad, the Heredad bottle, I mean, I have been traveling all over the world, talking and promoting Segura Viudas. And I remember, for instance, in Canada, in Vancouver, people were coming and were saying, I was married with that bottle, or I don't know, this is the bottle that you buy to celebrate something special. This is the bottle that you buy for special occasions, to celebrate your anniversary, your birthday, whatever. So the liquid, the cava, has to be also special, but it has to be quite versatile, okay? Because this product will be tasted by expert people and by non-expert people. So it has to be quite versatile, and we were looking for complexity, but at the same time, that everybody could enjoy that product. And this is why we were looking for delicacy and elegance, okay?
Right. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a way for me to come up with every single day, come up with like a holiday or a special occasion, because I want to drink this wine every day. This wine is incredible. To me, this is my everyday cava. I love this cava. I brought this cava home for the first time years ago and introduced my wife to it, and she fell in love with this wine. She's just, first of all, when I showed her the bottle, she was like shocked. She was, "What? That is the most amazing bottle." I think she made a candelabra out of a few of them, but that's another story. Yeah, but the juice inside is fantastic. And like I said, celebratory or not, this is my everyday. I love this cava. This cava to me is gorgeous.
Thank you. We love it too.
What a wonderful wine.
Yeah, and people make candles with the bottles. Yeah, that's true.
Someone had a question about, are they ready to drink now, or do they improve with age? Can you explain that?
Good question. Very good question. Well, the good thing, I mean, cava and also champagne, when they are at the winery with the yeast, lying with the yeast, they keep giving properties, and the liquid keeps improving. When we do the remouage and we get rid of those yeasts, and then we do the final dosage, and we sell the bottle, we send the bottles to the different markets, the product is ready to be consumed. So it's ready, and it's at the ideal moment. So we always recommend to drink, when you buy a bottle of cava, to drink it, let's say, before 2 years, okay? It will improve, yes, a little bit, but not very much. Not very much. I mean, because the responsibles of improving and giving more complexity to the product, they are out, which were the yeasts.
My house, nothing lasts that long, so we drink it immediately. That's just the way.
Why keep it? Drink it.
we like to, as soon as I bring it home, we open it up quickly. First we chill it, and obviously, and then open it up and drink it. This is a great wine to drink even while you're prepping your dinner. I mean, these wines are fantastic. They're light, they're vivacious, they have so much quality behind them. History, my God, the history behind these wines. What a wonderful place to call work, Gloria. That's
definitely.
How long have you been with Segura Viudas now?
More than 25 years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So you
but
started
I never get bored.
You started when you were 3. That's right. We already discussed that.
But you know, and we share our experiences with people, and we make people happy. So it's
another question we just had, Gloria, is: do you have a favorite? which one is your favorite?
From our wines,
Yes.
I do like very much the Gran Cuvée Reserva, and I do love the rosé. I'm a big fan of rosés. Maybe because I know how difficult it is to make to produce a good rosé. It's really difficult because rosé, you need to really separate the grapes from the mass at the right moment to have the right color. And if you do it too early or too late, then you have problems with being a super pale color without fruit, or you have a super strong color with too much fruit. So it's really difficult. And because I know the challenge of making a good rosé, I love a good rosé. I really enjoy a good rosé, and I think that rosé deserves a better place in the wine business.
Okay, here's a good question. How would you compare Heredad to some of the like champagne? What's a great way to compare?
Good question. You know what? I would like to, and I challenge if someone wants to do it, to organize a blind tasting among friends and put Heredad in the middle of some champagne. And I tell you, there will be surprises. Why? Because here you have acidity, you have complexity, you have freshness, and you have a lot of fruit. Secondary fruit, but a lot of fruit. And this is what you have in champagne. So, in fact, this Cava has the same philosophy that like many champagnes. Yeah.
That's a great test. I'm going to try that. I'm going to put paper bags or aluminum foil over them and do some.
Yeah, do it. I do. Yeah, I do.
Once they can come over, of course. Yeah, socially distanced. So, you know, I want to go for longer and longer and longer, but we've actually come to the end of our time, Gloria. I want to thank you so much because I know it's just a little bit later in Spain right now. Almost midnight, but we thank you so much, Gloria, for all of the insights. And for those of you that had asked a few questions that we didn't get to, we're going to respond to your questions. So just make sure that you check back in. But thank you so much, Gloria. Salud and gracias por todo. Gracias.
Thank you very much to everybody. And here we are waiting you at Segura Viudas. When you want, when all this is over, we wait you at Segura Viudas.
Salud.
Please
Gracias.
visit. Salud. Gracias a todos.